Hi, my name is Beth Simon, and I'm a faculty member in the Computer Science and Engineering Department, and I'm also the Senior Associate Director for Learning Sciences and Technology in UCSD's Center for Teaching Development. I'm sorry I couldn't be here with you today, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about this course, the College Classroom, that we offer here at the Center for Teaching Development that you'll be taking as part of the Gaaan program. Now, why would you want to take the College Classroom? Well, to be perfectly frank, it's everything I wish I had known when I left my PhD program about how I should do teaching that I learned absolutely none of. So we want to make that better for you. So a primary goal of taking the College Classroom is to prepare you to have a positive teaching experience, whether that's as a graduate student here and then also later as a new faculty member. Secondly, we want to help you develop expertise in evidence-based effective teaching practices that support student learning. Evidence-based effective teaching. What are those? Well, we've all had a lot of experience in the classroom. You've had an experience with many, many different kinds of instructors. What kinds of teaching that you've experienced has been most effective for your learning? Well, we could use our own personal views or anecdotes, but in fact, we could also look at some of the research that we know about on how people learn. So let's take a minute. Why don't you think, which of these do you most associate with a typical university lecture? Take a minute, just take a guess. Everybody got something in their head? Okay. Well, if I was there in front of you, we could take a show of hands. We'd have a lot of people voting for listening and absorbing, with a few more people voting for note-taking, frantic note-taking in the lecture. Very few people generally vote learning, right? You know, it's just not the most common thing we associate with university lecture. So why is that? Well, this is partially because most university lecture environments are based on what's called the transmissionist learning model. That's based around the fact that there's this person up front who has some information, some knowledge that these other people do not have. So what happens is they all gather around in this one space, and this person speaks that knowledge out, and they try to absorb it or take it down in notes, etc., etc. And of course, that means they all learned it. No, probably not. So first I could show you a lot of scientific research that shows that this is not a very effective way for people to learn. But forget all that. Culturally, we know this doesn't work. We have comics about it. Here's Calvin and Hobbes. Is his brain an empty bucket that can just be dumped and filled up? No, it doesn't work that way. So I'll give you guys the short, quick answer, but you'll learn a whole lot more about this when you work with us. If you want to know how people learn, there's a fabulous book called How People Learn: Brain, Mind, Experience in School. The core takeaways, though, are that people actually actively construct their own knowledge. They have to build their own knowledge. The professor can't do it for them. It's a very individual practice, and all new knowledge has to be based in some pre-existing knowledge that someone already has. The other thing is, really, I encourage you to think about learning as very much a biological, or probably also a chemical, process, in that when somebody learns something, it actually has to change their brain. And they've got some really great research on this recently where they can, thanks to technology, stick people in fMRIs, give them learning experiences, and actually watch the physical transformation in their brains. Okay, so that's just a brief sort of preview of what you might be able to learn about when you do some more work with us. So what will you be able to do after you finish taking our College Classroom course? Well, first you'll be able to talk about and reference modern theories of teaching and learning, along the lines of some of the things I just showed you, but in much more depth. Secondly, you'll be able to create formative and summative assessments, and also be able to explain why formative assessments are so very important for increasing student learning. You'll be able to implement active learning and student-centered instructional environments in a variety of ways. You'll be able to write lecture-level learning goals for a course that are clear and accessible. That is, students could know if they did them, had achieved those goals or not. You'll be able to observe and critique someone else's lecture with regard to student learning, mostly with the idea that that will give you some practice and in being able to sort of meta-observe your own classes as you go on forward in time teaching the entire rest of your career. And finally, and very importantly, you'll be able to stand out on your job application as being well prepared to be a successful educator. Now, here at the Center for Teaching Development, we have a number of other programs that we also run and resources that might be valuable to you. I encourage you to check out our website, ctd.ucsd.edu. Every quarter, we have weekly TA and teaching workshops that could be appropriate for both TAs and instructors. They're fairly practical, so you can check out our schedule to see if those are interested to you. And then beyond the college classroom, we also have sort of our capstone experience, which is the Summer Graduate Teaching Scholars Program. And this is where you could serve as actual instructor of record in a particular course during a summer session. And you would get additional support from us in sort of creating your student-centered learning environment for the class that you want to do, assessing how it's going, and getting feedback. So we'll hope to see you soon at the Center for Teaching Development, and I hope you're having a great day.